Hello everyone, Callan here, welcome back to my channel. We are almost all the way through the official series for these flashbacks episodes, but not to worry, I have not one, not two, but 3 days off coming up soon, and I will be able to get right on digging through all of those streams and other informational pockets to try and find all the stuff that's official, but buried and hard to find. Seems a pretty fitting topic to talk about considering the subject of today's flashbacks is Helluva Boss, Episode 6. Does this mean I'm a dork? The agency somehow has video of the imps from the other episodes. When it comes to these videos, Martha's house seems to be a strange place to have video footage from. Perhaps someone might have been filming at Verosika's concert, but at this point, as far as we knew, all the humans had run away or been killed by then, and do people bring their phones to opera concerts? No, seriously, I'm asking. I've never been to one before. Either way, it's oddly convenient. The footage of Blitz on the horse farm is also another area I never would have considered a camera being in. Does this agency just have random cameras all around the world? They are definitely from hell. They must use this magic to cross into our world. Guys, he's sitting there drinking boba. If they caught him actually using the book, then that would have made sense, but he's literally just fangirling over horses. Blitz is a horse girl. More instances of them having footage from places that make no sense. For example, Blitz in the forest all alone trying to hide himself from Martha and then having his phone go off. Blitz and Moxie talking outside of Martha's house. Millie under the dock in episode 1, and so on and so forth. Again, some of these make sense, just like some of the stuff from Verosika's concert, but the others make no sense. Convenient plot hole of Blitz showing up right outside of their window is convenient. Blitz doesn't know how to stealth. Condom! The agents have a net gun and a dart gun to try and take down the imps. The dart gun is a good idea, but if they've been watching their videos closely enough, they should have known that the imps carry weapons around with them pretty much at all times. So while the net might be knife-proof, is it really gun-proof? Moxie's body makes a great weapon. Shrek poster! Okay, so what the hell do they even use to electrocute them? Moxie's dart? That's the only thing that's even touching either of them. Isn't it dangerous to attach an electrocution device to a tube that's technically full of liquid? Also, a tranquilizer dart usually doesn't put one to sleep, hence why the electrocution was needed to knock these two out. Normally it's used to simply make animals less excitable, and media tends to take it too far. Good job on Viv and the team for not having Moxie immediately pass out. There's also a chance he pretty much immediately started a drug trip, even though it's just supposed to be a sedative, because imp bodies don't work the same way that earthly animal bodies do, and therefore it worked differently on him. We also don't know what dosage they were using and how that can greatly affect everything.
I'd like to see the suits that corporate colonists loses now.
Implies that either these two have been chasing things that don't exist up until this point and the rest of the team makes fun of them, or that their agency isn't for paranormal and has other purposes in the human world that we don't know about yet. Millie goes downright feral again and panics hardcore when she thinks Moxie is in danger. For once, Luna shows even the tiniest twinge of fear at having Millie yell at her, and even though she explains that she can't open the portal again, Millie, convinces her to. Blitz's emergency bag has a little horsey charm on it, and apparently, as we see later in the episode, is a bag of holding with infinite space. Millie chooses one weapon that she sticks with for the entirety of the fight. You go, girl. Human Luna! Backpack buddy. Thanks to being a wolf, Luna can use her sense of smell to track Moxie and Blitz down. The agent makes a jab at Moxie for taking so long to wake up and mentions that Blitz woke up before him, but Blitz only got electrocuted, whereas Moxie got electrocuted and tranquilized. Of course he woke up later. Blitz went to college and apparently dropped out. He also took a bunch of tranquilizers there and was strapped nipple first to a car battery, aka Blitz was a hardcore party boy in his college days.
Tell us, demon scum, who do you work for? Satan?
Implies that while these agents seem to know about demons, they don't understand that there's more big daddies to work for than just Satan, so they're probably just running off of limited Christian mythology and nothing else. Blitz immediately deflects with humor when they are being questioned. Now, some people deflect with humor naturally when it comes to depression and anxiety. I'm willing to bet that this is at least partially training from his comedy. Moxie thinks he's actually funny here, which he usually doesn't, and that's because Blitz literally has Moxie to bounce off of, which is just another showcase that Blitz's routine is usually better when he has a partner. Moxie has a Karen Starbucks order. Blitz blinks one eye at a time in this shot. The agent's reactions here are the same as any Starbucks worker that gets a similar order. Trust me, I know. I used to work at Starbucks. Hey, dude who ordered no foam and literally meant that there couldn't be even a single bubble and made me sit there and scoop all of them out with a spoon while you still wanted it filled all the way to the top? Yeah, I remember you. It's been 7 years, and I still remember you. The agents were actually pretty smart when it comes to tying down Blitz and Moxie's tails, considering what we've seen imp tails do and hold in the past. Blitz congratulates Moxie for being a douche. Moxie points out that physical torture is counterproductive, which in this case is true considering how durable imp bodies seem to be. Daddy likey dummy. The look on Blitz's face when Moxie praises him is priceless. Moxie is a Virgo. The agents immediately recoil when Blitz accuses them of getting kinky. This implies that perhaps they're afraid that Moxie and Blitz has some sort of crazy sex magic, especially taking into consideration that they don't even know what they are yet. I know the kind of shit that you're into implies that while in episode 7 Blitz only mentions Moxie and Millie using missionary position, they're into a hell of a lot more than anyone lets on to. Dorks is the name of the agency. The guards have spears instead of guns. Millie breaks into the place way too easily, implying that while their security looks much tighter on the inside of the building, breaking in is another story entirely, and they have no outdoor security other than the guys with spears who are only standing at the front door. The guy who gets coffee spit on him is honestly my mood when I'm at work and someone asks me a question that makes literally no sense. This is our first instance of the rest of the agency using nothing but weapons from Japan's Edo period. Millie and Luna make an amazing fighting team. Millie's fighting skills are terrifying, and I love her. Millie is only about 5 years older than Luna. Blip. Blitz says pretty much the only plan they have out loud in a room that he probably should have realized had speakers. The buttons the agents press is for a truth bomb, which is gas that permeates the room and forces Moxie and Blitz into the bad trip sequence. However, right next to that button, we also have haha gas and bitch juice. Blitz calls Moxie out for being overly obsessive with Millie, and also uses the phrase, "I can't tonight, I'm hanging out with Millie," which implies that Blitz has asked him to hang out on his own without Millie in the past. Moxie points out that Blitz's outburst was oddly personal, which is another indication for us that Blitz usually hides some of his actual internal feelings. While they didn't seem to smell the gas at first, Moxie can outright see it, which means that the green color we see on the screen isn't just there so that we, the audience, can see what's going on, it's actually green. Millie pegging Moxie is canon. Moxie recommended Cats to Blitz, and Blitz left halfway through. This, along with Moxie's obsession with Phantom of the Opera, implies that somehow human musicals make it down to hell where they are still loved and performed. This...
It was awful, Moxie. It was about ugly, horny cat.
The usual common side effects for a truth serum, usually pentothal, on humans are coughing, sneezing, hiccups, slow breathing, slow heart rate, cardiac or whatever this word is,
arrhythmias,
prolonged sleepiness and recovery, and shivering. This is just another example of the fact that human drugs work on imps in ways that they don't expect. There's actually a high chance that Blitz and Moxie are actually starting the process of overdosing here, and that is what causes the trip. Moxie's portion of a bad trip was animated to look Disney-esque, and every single frame was drawn by hand, and there are more frames per second than usual. This and the fight sequence later are what took up most of the budget of this episode. Moxie's never tried acid, shrooms, or DMT, which means he's never outright tried anything hallucinogenic. Blitz's music for this, though. This sequence is badass and no one can tell me otherwise. Blitz already has 3 swirls representing Verosca, Fizrali, and Stryker all above him from the get-go, implying that there's something that loom over him and his thoughts pretty much all the time. There's also a 4th that we see over in the corner that is probably the representation of Stolas. Everything is goopy, messy, and sinking in Blitz's mind, which just shows us what kind of a mess he is emotionally. He constantly feels like he has no solid ground to stand on, and he feels gross pretty much all the time. Blitz's first reaction to being covered in goop is to sniff and then lick it. Moxie appears first as a doodle, and his speech is very overly eloquent. This is how Blitz tends to view him whenever Moxie goes off on his rambles, rather than seeing Moxie for who he really is. Satan's plain English. Blitz also seems to recognize that he doesn't tend to understand half of what Moxie is talking about, admittedly because he usually doesn't try. Blitz completely zoning Moxie out and turning his eyes to the 3 beings looming over him actually shows us how Blitz deals with things in general. He stops listening, and all of his thoughts go inward where he focuses in on things that bother him all the time. He has trouble moving on from them. This mirrors what he did to Moxie in episode 3, where he completely zoned him out while focusing on Verosca.
Sometime, and then maybe you could understand half of the frivolous things I carry on and on about on my steady life about Your status to me is name recognition alone, in my opinion. Rivetive
Moxie,
of...
shut the fuck up.
This is Blitz quite literally being overstimulated by his own anxieties. Moxie calls Blitz out on pushing everyone away and reveals Blitz's biggest fear of ending up alone. Moxie also calls Blitz out on the fact that he and Millie usually have to come to the rescue when Blitz's plans go south. Blitz says,
I don't need you. I can do this shit on my own so easily.
to which his own internal thoughts start calling him out on shit. Stryker, Verosca, Fizz, and Stolas all have Blitz's voice imitating their own voices, which means that he's inserting his thoughts into their mouths. Okay, here's where we're gonna pause and break something down for everyone because I've seen a lot of confusion in the comments about this. Every single person that appears in Blitz's portion of a bad trip is either a previous love interest or someone that he has shown interest in being with, whether it be romantically or sexually, even Moxie. Never once do we see his family members in the background, and we don't even see Millie. but that seems to be because Blitz zones in on Moxie more than he does on Millie. Sure, Moxie is right beside him, and that's part of the reason why Moxie is there, but may I remind you of 2 clips.
I can't tonight. I'm hanging with Millie.
Blitz has asked Moxie to hang out without Millie before, and
Yeah, I really want you, sir.
he has outright fantasized about having sexual relations with him, sometimes with Millie, like in this instance, but I'd be willing to bet money that he's also thought about either one of them individually, hence why he downright stalks the 2 of them, films them, breaks into their house, and watches them having sex. We know for a fact that he is dating Stolas and has previously dated Verosika. Fizrali has never been outright stated to be an ex, but again, everyone here is a target of interest for Blitz, and if you zoom in on Fizz's head, his forehead crest is different than that of Robo-Fizz and of OG Fizz. It's a broken heart. That implies that yes, they did date, or perhaps they'd been about to date and Blitz did something that hurt him. Verosika also has the broken heart mark on her cheek, implying the exact same thing: Blitz broke her heart. Why would these 2 beings have almost exactly the same mark on them if they hadn't been together and had Blitz break their hearts? Stryker is actually the most interesting case when it comes to looking at all of these characters because he and Blitz only knew each other for a single day. However, yeah, they were all over each other during the games, and even though Blitz obviously said no to running off with Stryker to start their own endeavors, he did still invite Stryker to join IMP. This means that even if Stryker wasn't an ex, he was still a person of interest for Blitz up until things went down and they had to cut Stryker out of the picture. Plus, everything that Stryker said to him added on to Blitz's anxieties. This made him something that would haunt Blitz's mind even more so than if he'd just been a failed attempt at hooking up with someone. Now back to your regularly scheduled flashbacks. Fizrali is drawn entirely in rubber hose styled animation, even down to the eye style and being colored fully in black and white while everyone else is in color. This was our hint before we got the photo in episode 7 for just how far back the relationship went. Fizz was the original person of interest in Blitz's life. As I pointed out in my previous videos, while Stryker and Fizz immediately clean up as soon as they come out of the muck, Verosika stays dirty for almost the entire sequence. Now this could just because the animators thought it looked neat, or because Blitz literally views what he did to her as tainting her. Fizz doing this little motion in the background though. All of the muck wipes away from Stolas' stairs and then Blitz himself, which may imply that Blitz originally viewed his relationship as a clean slate. However, then the golden chains appear on him, which signifies that he feels trapped with Stolas. After all, without Stolas, he can't continue to run his business. Both of the imps at the top of the steps are actually Blitz, which means he views himself as Stolas' servant boy more than he views himself as Stolas' boyfriend. This
Tell you that you simply cannot fathom proper intimacy, but also craving as well.
Blitz desperately wants a close, loving relationship, but he doesn't know how to get it. This is both in romantic relationships and familial relationships, as we see how he views being a father to Luna. He feels like having the paper that says he adopted her means that he automatically deserves her love, when perhaps he hasn't exactly done anything to properly earn it, at least not that we've seen thus far. He even feels with friendships and seems to automatically try to turn friendships into romantic relationships simply because he can't fathom boundaries or how relationships in general work. Princess Moxie! Moxie calls Blitz out on worrying that he's going to chase him away. Whenever he gets overstimulated in a situation, Blitz's first reaction is essentially to just tell everyone around him to shut up. Everything, even his thoughts, feel too loud for him to properly focus and figure out what to do about the situation. The agents are eating popcorn and drinking soda while they watch all of this go down, which means that everything that's being said is most likely being said out loud, much to their enjoyment. I do wonder what it looks like to see Blitz doing all the different voices for everyone in his trip while he's sitting there drooling and tied to a chair. Blitz's thoughts are quite literally suffocating and torturing him. Look at the mark on Blitz's forehead. It's now a broken heart, just like with Verosika and Fizz. Moxie fears rejection. Moxie and Blitz agree to communicate better, that Blitz has been a jerk, and that they want to try and be better friends together. The dorks are so stupid that their passcode is literally just a bunch of ones. How long was their trip? Because it seems like the instant the gas cleared from the room, they're back to normal. This implies that the truth serum lasts roughly as long as a drug like cocaine lasts in a human, which is roughly around 15 to 30 minutes. Let's just hope I don't get in trouble for that Google search. Moxie stating what Blitz said to him on the first day working for IMP shows us that Blitz started out being very supportive of him, to which Blitz replies,
"Look, I'm hard on you because I know what you're capable of, Mox."
Blitz fully knows that Moxie's anxiety holds him back, but more often than not seems to forget that positive reinforcement is actually what Moxie needs, hence the stringing of compliments here.
Just keep doing a good job, okay? You shoot and kill good, you escape things easy, you can be strategic and cold-blooded when you need to, and don't expect any more compliments, I'm maxed out.
It's just something he needs to work on, and he isn't used to doing because he's too used to pushing people away when they get too close. Blitz wants Moxie to use his name here, which is a big step forward in their relationship. Millie to the rescue! This could just be me reading into things too much, but with the position of Blitz's hands, it almost looks like he's expecting Millie to hug him too. Or he could just be waiting for the explanation. Either way. Blitz is terrified of Luna being in the human world because he doesn't want his daughter getting hurt. Awoo! Again, dorks only use weapons from Japan's Edo period, which is strange considering the fact that they were using a damn net gun and tranquilizer gun at the beginning of the episode. Moxie and Blitz have an unspoken understanding. Luna's fighting skills are badass. Again, Millie only uses one weapon the whole time along with parts of her own body. Let me take a selfie. Blitz's phone case says Thought Patrol. Blitz fawns over his daughter as he often does. Blitz acts like a doting father to Millie. He's the dad friend. Daddy?
Who wants some quality time with Daddy?
Moxie goes downright feral. Blitz's bazooka gun says, my dick, and the bomb says, wait, can I say that on YouTube? And you guys can read, right? The gang gets locked in and one of the doors looks like a bathroom stall with agents number 1 and 2 on it. Luna claims that she can't read the spell in this light and then later pulls out her phone to take a picture of Stolas. Couldn't she have just used the light on her phone to read it? Stolas is so powerful that the bitch summons himself. Also note that Stolas calls Blitz his impish little plaything rather than calling him anything positive like a boyfriend or lover. Dick move, Stolas. Her neck is absolutely broken after that. Shouldn't she be dead? Damn, Stolas, where was all of that hiding? I love it. Stolas somehow immediately knows which button to push to end the lockdown, but why? I get that he probably got the information out of her mind, but was it necessary in order to get everyone out considering the fact that he doesn't have to read the spell in order to open the portal? Blitz doesn't know why Stolas knew he needed help, to which Stolas gives us a non-answer. There's a high chance that he is quite literally connected to his book, and because Luna had it open when they realized there was no escape, Stolas might have heard them. Stolas checks on Blitz's safety before scolding him. Stolas constantly refers to imps as little, which is more than just comparing their size to him. It's degrading, whether he realizes it or not. He called the imps in wrath that, which might have been part of their disdain for him. He calls Blitz an itsy-bitsy imp after sleeping with him. He calls Blitz his impish little plaything, and he also calls them little creatures here. He focuses in on it to the point where it's quite literally belittling. Belittling. Little. Pun. In all seriousness, though, it's not very polite of him. Stolas outright tells them that if they get in trouble, he gets in trouble. Could Stolas literally be taken out by the Princes of Hell if it's discovered that he's illegally letting imps use his book? Stolas, why didn't you kill these guys and fuck up the footage? Especially since you were in their head, you should know they have footage, just saying. Even though Blitz offers to sleep with Stolas, it's not because he actually felt the need to offer on his own. Stolas outright treated it like it was owed.
Am I going to get any thank you for the rescue, Bitsy?
The two of them go so hardcore that they use bear traps. Again, why didn't Stolas kill them and distort the footage? The agents mentioned corporate, which means that this branch is just a smaller branch of a larger company. Oh boy, this was my longest script yet, which makes sense because at a 22-minute runtime, this is the longest Helluva Boss episode to date. Even episode 7 was only 16 minutes in comparison. Speaking of which, time to redo my episode 7 video. There's a hell of a lot of stuff that I've noticed that I didn't get on my first go-round. I will see you all in the next mess. Later, Gators.